Hello, and thank you so much for purchasing from MoongoddessCharm on Etsy. I wanted to do a video reading for you today. I know you waited 6 days for your reading, and I apologize for your wait time. I wanted to do this because my laptop broke in my second move of the month of September last month, so forgive me. I hope this is okay. I am using the Aradia deck I have intuitively chosen, right there, Gospel of Aradia, and I have some crystals here, and my rose quartz candles and everything. So I have already shuffled for you, and I will now draw the cards. I have also some bay leaves for luck, the rose quartz for love, the opalite bunny right there, messages from spirit. I have green crystals and stones for healing. I have red tiger eye right here for grounding energies and connecting with Mother Earth and Gaia. I have Shiva eye gate right here for protection of any lower vibrational energies trying to attach themselves to us. My selenite, really wonderful for communication and relationships. This can help with connecting to how you and another person from a past life communicated, whether it was someone of a marriage, like a partner, or a family member. And my little Reiki wand right here for clearing and everything. Okay, so your first card here, let's see what this says. Vows. Such a beautiful card here. This tells me the first card is going to represent your childhood and upbringing from there and your parents and their relationship. So this card is telling me that you came from a family, and forgive me for the pauses because it's when I gather spirit messages from what they're trying to tell me for you intuitively and psychically in my gifts. This focuses on a very strong bond in your parents' marriage. It focuses on, my guides are telling me steadfast. You have come from a family with great morals and values, they're saying, and a steadfast marriage. So you were raised as a child in a really strong family unit, and they keep telling me disciplinarian. So that tells me that you had authoritarian, I think a father. Yes, I'm gathering a father. And I'm also gathering that this past life was in Italy, which is almost funny actually, because the Gospel of Aradia is centered on Italian witches. So that's really cool actually. So that's the first card. The second card will tell more about childhood and what you went through. Okay, resistance and adolescenthood. This one is about adolescenthood as well, the continuation from childhood. I feel that from this card, your father really put you, not through a lot, but he put you on like a really short leash. Like he was very overly protective of you. And this card tells me that you resisted it a lot. You liked to be rambunctious and the rebellion. You rebelled a lot, and you just really had a stronger personality in that life, and you were bold. My spirit guides are saying that you were very bold and what you said or what you wanted for yourself, and you weren't afraid to let others hear it. You weren't afraid to voice your opinions or to even voice your thoughts in that life. And I really like that because it shows your strength and it shows a fiery energy in that life, which shows that you weren't afraid to stand up for what you believed in. The third card here, secrecy. So this card focuses on like coming out of adolescence, and there's like a secret that you didn't want anyone to know, but it was between you and a confidant, somebody, a friend, someone who you really looked up to and someone who really looked up to you. You had a very close bond with this person. And I'm getting that you were the only child in this family, but you met somebody along the way and she had befriended you like a sister. You were very close with her. and you told each other everything. You kept to yourself a lot with your parents eventually because of the way things were. Your mother was very soft-spoken, I'm getting for this and from this, and your father made all the decisions. You resisted, and from this, it's like you kind of like went into a shell, and you were kind of like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to share all my secrets and fears and everything with my best friend, who's like my sister. And I'm picking up two names here, Matilda and Annabelle. I feel like Matilda was the friend and your sister, you know, like a sister, and Annabelle, that was your name, which is a beautiful name, and it's an Italian name as well. And I'm going to move on to the next card now. This is going to be a, it's going to say 10 to 12 card reading here for you. Excuse me, I want to fix the cards here, and forgive me, I don't have a camcorder yet, so, okay. Escape. Okay, so this tells me a lot here. This tells me that you really weren't happy in your home life. I feel like your father was very structured, and he really wanted you to do what he wanted to do, what he thought was best for you, but his ideals, his notations, everything that he wanted you to do, like everything that he wanted for him, he wanted you to do. And you were just, your personality was strong, and you kind of like rebelled, and you really wanted to escape that. That's what this is about. So you had like clashing personalities. I mean, your parents, they wanted the best for you, but you know, your mother, she should have stepped in and stood up for you more, but she let your father wear the reins and have the power in the family life and in her marriage as well. Fortune. This is a blessing. Okay, so in your early 20s, you're coming out of a lot. You tried to, you know, escape, and you got an abundance blessing of fortune. And this tells me, excuse me, my guides tells me artist. You were an artist in that life, a painter. And you were very expressive, not only with your words, but with your skills and how you drew and how you painted and how you illustrated everything. And it shows me that you went on in your early 20s to open up your own art gallery, and you're really supported. I also see that you went into partnership with your best friend, Matilda. Because my guides keep showing me Annabelle and Matilda. Like you had an art gallery, and she more drew. She liked to experiment with different pencils, and you like to experiment with different palettes and painting. But it was beautiful. You guys were really, really close, and you really shared that bond and that life of sisterhood, and it was more than a friendship. It was a beautiful sisterhood and sort of like companionship as well. Oh my gosh, see? Spirit never lies. I always do this. I always read like the next card kind of in my previous card, and then I pull a card and then it confirms it. So, okay, sisterhood. And this talks about your bond with this person, and I feel like it was something more than a sisterhood as well. I feel like it was a connection, like among, and I don't want to offend you or anything, but I always have to gather what Spirit's trying to tell me, but it was like a connection and companionship. It was like an intimate sisterhood bond to where it was like a partnership, but it was beautiful, and you all didn't care what anyone else thought of it. Even though your parents wanted you to have a traditional marriage and everything, this is what you both wanted. And it started out as not even with this intention. It started out with you connecting to someone to try to get out and run away from that whole stifling environment, you know, that strict, encompassing environment that you needed to get out. The seventh card here, fight. So basically this is telling me that you fought for your ideals, for your beliefs. You fought against what your father thought was morally right. And my guides tell me mortality, like you really had to protect yourself energetically and physically, because I feel like your father became like physical. I feel like it's like they're telling me a type A personality, like he became more than argumentative, just aggressive and dominant and domineering and all of these things. And you two really had to just stick it out, and you ran your business together. So you were with each other, you lived with each other on a daily basis, you did art. It was beautiful. You loved to cook together. You were just so creative with her. Like, you could feel like yourself with this person, and she made you feel alive, and your father made you feel held back, and just he didn't have the greatest energy in this life. And I'm also being told that your father in that life is not the same father figure in this life for you. This person, I feel like you may have already learned from your karmic bond with this person, so this person is no longer going to be in any of your future lives because you've already learned and cut the tie, which is good for closure. The masculine. Let me read this card. Okay, so this card is all about, it connects to the father figure, but it also connects to somebody else coming into your life in your 30s, in your mid-30s, they're telling me. So I feel like there's somebody else who was also an artist. And they're telling me like the mid-18th century. It was a long time ago, and this is one of your many past lives. I feel like you are a wise soul, and you're an ancient, old soul, but with a young spirit, if that makes sense. And I feel like this person, I keep getting the name Juan Antonio, like he came from Spain. He was like a Spaniard. He tried to fight for your attention from Matilda. He was also an artist, and he came and he tried to like really come and sweep you off your feet. And the next card I'm going to read and pull more from this to understand. Okay, so peacemaking. Let me just move these cards over here so I can make room. Okay, so I feel like this has a tie into these two. It's like a connection, these cards, these three right here. I feel like after your father couldn't really get you back in his reins and have you in his grip, like, you know, make all your decisions for you like he wanted, but he wasn't even aware of it. I feel like he was in denial in that life. I feel like eventually, like, he came to peace with how you were, and he was proud of your success and your fortune here. And he also was proud of your courage. I do feel like this person, I feel like he might have been sent by your father to try to sway you to more of a masculine, energy. But eventually, like, you made peace with all of this, and you kind of like moved forward from what your father wanted. If that makes sense. Pilgrimage. So this shows me a lot of travel. I feel like you chose to stay with Matilda, you know, because I keep getting, like I said, I know this is the third time repeating myself, forgive me, Sisterhood, Annabelle, Matilda. I feel like you all set out on a trip, and you traveled Europe, and you did this without a masculine energy, and I feel like you were very brave and strong and courageous. And I feel like you loved doing things like this. You loved travel. You loved fine wine. You loved art. You loved really finer things in life. Like, you know, I was going to say the food, finer foods and cuisines. And you loved exploring together. Ritual. I feel like you may have been from a long string or a long line of maybe Italian witches in that life. But your father masked that for you. And he kind of got you away from it. They're telling me it's on your mother's side here. Forgive me, I'm only doing this with one hand. But I feel like you and Matilda really reached out, and you got to really just explore life together and reconnecting with your roots and your ancient witchery. You guys loved candles. I'm being shown that you loved to make candles eventually, and you loved going out in Mother Earth, and you just absolutely adored to create and to do all of these things together. I feel like you had a wonderful life in that life. I really do. The 12th card here. The Shadow. I feel like this card is saying, let me just take a moment. I feel like this card is saying that you really, at the end of your life, you came to terms with your shadow self, everything that happened in your childhood and your upbringing with your parents and the strong marriage, and you were just stifled, you were held back, and your father. I just feel really strongly that you really reflected and you really were able to cut off these bonds that connected you karmically with your father. I feel like your mother wanted you to have a family, and she was like introverted, but she wanted you to kind of have a life like her, because I don't know, her yearning was for a strong man to stand by her and protect her, and she was the silent, like the strong silent type, and let him just take the reins. But I feel like you really got in touch with your inner self and your creativity. You were successful, with your painting, and I feel like you both in your partnership grew old together, and you never had children. That's what I was going to say. And your mother wanted you deeply to have, she wanted a grandchild. I feel like she wanted a granddaughter, excuse me. And I just feel like, she just felt like, not like really that you two didn't really connect, but I feel like she wanted something different for you that you didn't want, and that's why she let your father take the reins, and she let him be overly overbearing and aggressive. But I feel like you really cut the ties here, and what I'm trying to say is you really connected to your shadow self and your sisterhood as well, because she understood you. Matilda understood all of your secrets and fears. She understood everything, even with one look. She just knew. She knew how you felt, and that's all you needed, because you needed to get out of it. You needed to get out of that, like, it was like a murky place and like an abusive environment. Like, I feel like they weren't abusive. Your mother had she didn't care if, like, he took the reins, like I said. So she didn't have a voice in that relationship, but she didn't mind. She was passive. And your father, he was just very particular and meticulous. He wanted things his way. And so you're done with those energies. And although you didn't have children in that life, you're deeply happy with your independence and your freedom and your art and your success that you made. And that whole stifling environment made you the stronger person in that life that you even are today, because you are still strong, and you're a very strong person. You have these bonds that you take with you karmically. And, don't let anything steer you away from karmic bonds, because it's not all bad. It just ties you from the lessons that you've learned, and you could even cut the ties to people like you have here with your parents in that life. And you grew as a person, and Spirit's showing me that you really proved in your independence and your individuality. So I hope that you enjoyed your reading today. I really hope that you resonated. If you have any questions, please don't be afraid to reach out to me through Etsy Convo, or even replying to, this is in an email, even on MoongoddessCharm at gmail.com, or MoongoddessRising, RIISING, at gmail.com. I really enjoyed reading for you today. It was my pleasure, and it was a great honor, and I just wanted to say thank you also for trusting me to read for you, as I know readings can be very intimate and personal for people. If you ever want to come back, I would like to invite you to use the code SERENITY on any readings in the near future. And if you're interested in any crystals or gemstones from my shop, you can use the coupon code at checkout, Gem Sale. Thank you so much, and have a bright and beautiful and blessed evening. Blessed be.